What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back with another Man United news roundup. Kind of a news roundup, more of just a general discussion on United's transfer window, just what that looks like moving ahead after we've got, it seemed like, our big priority deals out of the way. But today, I had to change up a couple things. If you guys noticed, the thumbnail is different than what it originally was because we got some big breaking news today that I want to make sure we talk about. So that's what we're going to do today. We're talking all the Rashford news. We're talking what the rest of our window looks like, what are our priorities, what it looks like to get rid of some of the deadwood. We'll talk about some youngsters, for loans. And, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the friendly against Leeds that I almost missed because MUTV, United's website was not working out. A lot of people were having issues, and so my subscription lapsed probably like a month ago. And there hasn't been much to watch, but did end up watching it while I was working out this morning. So I do have thoughts today. So we are going to jump into all that and more. Like the video, please subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 3K, and as promised, again, you guys hold me to this. If we get to 3K before the season officially kicks off, I will do a shirt giveaway with one lucky winner. We'll get a brand new 25-26 shirt from United of their choosing, home, away, third, whatever you want. I would buy it for you. I'll ship it to you. Wherever you live, I got you covered. That's what try to give back to you guys for helping the community grow. But the best way to do that, the best way to get involved in that is to make sure you're liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, sharing the videos, get more and more people going. That's the best way to get there. We're close. I think we can get there. We've got like a month left. I think we can do it, you guys. So I believe in you. And as always, check out the memberships as well. Let me get involved in the chat and see what everybody is up to. Danny B in the house. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Good to see you again. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. It's Saturday. Is everybody enjoying their Saturday morning? Oh, we get a troll. Awesome. I love the trolls. Hey, the trolls get me views, so it's all good. Debasis, welcome back. I only hate when Rashford becomes a Spanish citizen. You guys are funny. Well, welcome back, everybody. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's dive right into the news because it is all that we're talking about right now. Let me put this on the big thing so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. So, big breaking news today. We got a here we go. Immediately, pretty much a day after we got a here we go for Bryan Mbeumo, we get a here we go for an exit. And this is coming from Romano, Marcus Rashford to Barcelona. Here we go. Verbal agreement in principle between all parties involved with Barca planning for medical tests the next days. Loan deal with an option to buy. Details being finalized today. Then Man United will authorize his travel to Spain. That kind of came out of nowhere. For a second there, it looked like this was only a pipe dream. Rashford's kind of been twerking for Barcelona for a while. And to be honest, you and me, we've kind of figured maybe I just don't see it. Like, I don't see him playing. He's probably going to be rotation unless he can somehow completely shift his game to a 9. We know that that's kind of what he said in that YouTube video a couple weeks back with that interview, that he kind of sees himself as a 9. We'll see, Rashi, how that works out for you. But sounds like everything is all set. We got a couple details here. So this is what I've seen. I'm kind of compiling the main details of this whole loan. So it's a loan with a 30 million option to buy, 30 million pound option to buy, which a little less than what we thought we probably would get for him. But I think at this point, it's just, hey, whatever you got to do. Barcelona have agreed to cover 100% of his wages, but in order to do that, in order for them to afford that, he agreed to take a salary reduction down to just over £8.5 million a year, including bonuses. So he is reducing his salary a bit. And then apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, there is going to be a fee if Barcelona don't exercise this option, similar to what we saw with the Jadon Sancho thing. Now, I don't get why there would be a fee if there's an option, not an obligation. Maybe we'll get some more details over the next couple of days once everything is over the line and finalized and the T's are dotted and the I's are crossed. But we'll see what happens. But we could get money either way. So I think that for me, it's a big deal that Barcelona are covering his wages 100%. And I think that is a big help. I'm not going to lie. I think that it's just, I'm fed up with these loan to buy options, if that makes sense. You guys kind of feel what I'm saying here. I'm kind of fed up with the loan with an option. Like, just do a permanent transfer. I get Barcelona or skint too. I think people don't realize, quite frankly, just how many clubs, how many big clubs are just broke as a joke right now? Barcelona are broke, United are joke. Like, we're broke, man. And that's hard. We're scrimping and scraping. We're wheeling and dealing. This is like a bazaar in ancient times or something, trying to like haggle over every little thing. It's like the opening scene of Aladdin out here, just whipping out all the little doodads, trying to get a good deal. Um, but I think what I always hear when there's like a not a straight purchase and there's not like an obligation, although obligations don't really mean anything anymore. I get a little concerned that Barcelona aren't going to make this permanent. Now, I put in the poll in the chat for you guys, if you think that this will be a permanent thing. So far, we got 9 votes. 56% of you do not think that Barcelona are going to make this permanent. So it sounds like most of you are kind of worried, kind of the same that I feel. I don't see him dethroning Rafinha, Lamine Yamal. Heck, I don't even know if I see him like pushing Rooney Bargy out of the way, because Bargy's had a really good time too. The only thing I see for him is striker. If they play like a fluid, free-flowing attack, not like a straight-up target guy, not a straight-up poacher guy, but like a more of an 08 United kind of front three situation, then I can kind of see it working. The problem is, do you see Rashford working in that role? That's the only way I see him kind of cementing a permanent spot, and here is rotating with Lewandowski, and he'll probably have an opportunity because Lewandowski has been picking up injuries. The guy's like fucking 90. It's literally like digging up Hugh Jackman to do another Deadpool movie. He'll probably end up leaving in not that long because he's just older now. But again, it sounds like Rashford's going to be traveling over there in the next couple of days. Sounds like medical is going to be sometime this week. Bye, Felicia, and take your buddy Henry Winter with you, as far as I'm concerned. What are you guys saying here? Let me get caught up on the chat here real quick. Got to scroll all the way back up. Danny B thinks he will be back in Carrington again. Danny, don't change, man. Don't ever change. We love it. Get involved in the poll. I want to know what you guys think. Is Barcelona going to make this permanent or not? Danny does not seem to think so. Like he's saying, welcome back, man. Marcus Rashford knew he had to take a pay cut. Player wants to go play number 9. Yeah, and it's funny, Sancho could take a little bit of a hint here. Like, if you want to go play football, if that's more important to you, then you might have to just take a pay cut to go. It shows that the choices that we make reveal our priorities. I've said it a couple of times. I feel like life is very simple. It's priorities, it's choices, and it's consequences. That's basically how this thing breaks down into. And if your priority is money, Sancho, you're going to make your choice, Sancho, and the consequence is you don't get your move, you don't get to play football maybe for a year. It's very simple. It really is, in theory, and not simple in practice, but in theory. Agile says the clubs in Barcelona get your alcohol stack. Yeah, does anybody know about any Spanish beers out there? I only really drink Guinness, so I'm not really a beer aficionado. I'm trying to get more into wine, but it's just hard to find like the pub where I go to watch matches. Usually, it's not like a wine. Like the wine selection is not great. I just get Guinness. It is what it is. I'm a pretty straightforward guy. I'm a traditionalist. Lucky thinks a loan to buy is still a very good option. We'll see. It's up to Rashford now at this point, and it's up to Barcelona to get their shit together because we know that they are struggling. I mean, I'm concerned that he's not even going to be able to play. Maybe that's why it's an option. Maybe the loan is the only way that they could register him financially because we know they've been struggling with the Danny Olmo situation. Maybe this is the only way they could get this done on paper. Frimpong, Richard, welcome back. Good to see you again. Thank the Lord. Devices, our midfielders need a midfielder. I want to see a commanding midfielder who can get up and down tempo. We got thoughts on all this. That's what we're doing today. We're talking about Rashford. We'll talk about this Leeds friendly, especially some things that Amorim had to say after the fact. And then we're going to talk a little bit. I want to get your guys' thoughts on what's next for us in this window. Strikers, keepers, midfielders, who's leaving, what kind of players are going out on loan. We're going to talk about all that today. So Frimpong watching from Ghana. Big up, man. Good to see that. I love it. Thank you for stopping by today. What time is it there in Ghana? It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me here where I'm at. I live in Michigan. So Debas says, I'm fine with loan as long as it's not a penny from our side. Yeah, they're paying 100% of the wages, as you can see there. £30 million option. That's a pretty good deal by the time he be 28 by that time? Not a bad shout there. Debas says, if you think that is bad, wait for Chelsea's Garnacho bid at deadline day. Well, Chelsea have kind of shown their hand a little bit in what they've spent on Gittins and what they did spend on Modric. Modric had barely 24 games professionally under his belt by the time Chelsea had broken whatever they spent, like 80-something million on that kid. Like, that was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. Big up, Lyle. Hail the chat. Welcome back, Lyle. Good to see you guys. Lyle says, just glad 100% wages covered, money saved. And Mbeumo news was a domino effect, truly. Yes, I do think that we have seen, like, we got a couple of those sell-on cash, some of that found money from Alvaro, from Elanga. I think that did help us a little bit. I do think we were in a situation where two things. I think that we were a little skint, but we had a hard line that we wanted to set with Mbeumo. Now, whether or not we went over that or not, who knows? But I think we had a max that we wanted. I think we were probably at our max, but obviously we're going to go into that negotiation with a little lower. Now, it's up for debate whether we should have just put our best offer in forward, get going, and just really push hard to make up for that later on and deal with it later. It is what it is. There's not really a right or wrong there. It's just that you choose one and you go with it and you stick with it, kind of a situation. I don't know. Jay's thoughts on Hato. Do you rate him? Yeah. Well, Danny V's ears are going to perk up. We know Danny V and I have been talking about Joao Hato for a little while. I believe I did a little bit of a mini scouting report on him a while ago. I think like last season I did a scouting report on him. I do really like him. You guys know I did watch a lot of Ajax. I do watch a lot of Eredivisie, a lot of the Belgian league and stuff like that. So I do scout reports regularly on the channel, but we did do something on Hato, but it would have been like a year ago if we did, man. But big up. Welcome back, Jay. Agile says, will he even get him registered? I do not know. That's my question. At this point, not my problem anymore, right? So it's their problem at this point. I don't know how Barcelona are even functioning as a club, man. It's ridiculous. Danny says midfield is lost. We need one ASAP. Yeah, we're going to talk about that today because Amorim had some comments on that as well. Agile wants a Javi Guerra type midfielder. Yeah, we've done loads of scouting reports on midfielders, you guys. It's gone a little quiet as far as the midfielder links are concerned, so I'm not sure what to expect there. If any of these links were ever legitimate at all, who knows? But it has gone quiet. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. Debashi says you can see Nicholas Jackson wearing a United shirt. Yikes. Lord, no. I get Chelsea Fernando Torres vibes when I watch Nicholas Jackson. Same way, like I feel the same when I watch Timo Werner. I feel the same when I watch Darwin Nunez. I get like, you look dangerous during the build-up, the way that these teams play, but you get these strikers like in with good chances in front of net, and I'm never 100% confident they're going to do anything with it. That's how I feel with some of these strikers sometimes. So Danny says anything in Ed. Yeah. Like he says, now medical finish, Bryan Mbeumo, send Marcus Spain. Yep. We're getting there. We are getting there. Debasti says Hato is pure cash we can't afford. Yeah, I would love him. He's definitely got like a Real Madrid vibe or something to him. I know that they were linked a while back. But they did just spend big on Dean Howson as well. They've got Senzio coming through as well. So we'll see what they do. They've still got Alaba. They still got Rudiger. They've got Militao. These guys are all older. They're all injury prone. Mendy, I think, is still there as far as I can remember. Carvajal's just coming back. And all these guys are old. It doesn't seem like they rate Fran Garcia. They just spent big on Alvaro. I don't know what's going on in Madrid. Florentino gonna Florentino, man. So it is what it is. Lyle says Leeds game today was a snooze fest. However, Cunha and Yoro were standouts. Good showings from Lyon. Rasmus was up for it. He looked different. Well, we're going to see. We're going to talk about that because I did watch it. I'm not going to make a big deal out of the friendly. It was literally our first friendly, the first time we kicked the ball since those post-season friendlies, which I guess a post-season tour is a thing now. So I'm not going to read too much into it. I will say Cunha doesn't look like he's missed a step since the season ended for sure. But we can dive right into that, though. Big up, Rob, Always United, newest member of the Academy, joined the other day. Big up, Rob. Good to see you again, my friend. We were just wrapping up a little bit of this Barcelona Rashford news. Get your thoughts in. I put a poll in the chat. Where are you guys at right now? 70% of you, almost 69% of you, do not think that Barcelona are going to make Rashford's loan move permanent. Well, it's going to be dependent on a couple different factors. How well Rashford performs and what Barcelona's financial situation looks like by the time, it gets to the end of the season, because they might not even still be able to register Olmo as far as I know, because remember they had gotten that extended many, many times. So we will see what happens. But welcome back, Rob. Big up as always. I'm going to take this off the screen, go on to my next point here. So let's talk about this preseason friendly against Leeds in Stockholm. Interesting starting 11. I liked seeing Obi, Collier, Diogo Leon, new signing, getting a start. Obviously, Cunha got a start, first appearance in a shirt. That new shirt, that new away strip looks pretty sick too. In person, the print, the graphic is not as dark as I thought it was going to be. So it's kind of a hint of a graphic. It's a very, very light purple, so it looks good. I'm not too keen on purple shorts, but it is what it is. All white would have been pretty lit, but I'm not going to complain about that. So Cunha, a couple of youngsters starting, got several youngsters on the bench: Monroe, Kone, Jack Fletcher, Montato, Williams, Kakonki, Dermot Mee. I know Montato came on in the second half. Shaw started. Casemiro started. Did not think Shaw looked great. He just looked Shaw looked exactly like he looked towards the end of the last season when he was getting some more minutes. It's just, and again, it's a friendly, so I'm not going to read too much into it, but you expect a little better out of him. He just doesn't look like comfortable. It looks like he's just got that like blank stare on his face. He's making mistakes. I thought the ref was a bit of a joke, honestly. Leeds were literally throwing themselves to the ground like every time when the play was dead. Like Gnonto did not get touched by Casemiro for that early foul that the ref blew on. Like he just saw that the ball was about to get lost, and the ref's like view was kind of obstructed by Casemiro, and he just kind of went down. And I felt like they were doing that time and time again. I mean, Ahmad got straight up pushed over by Rodon and in near Leeds goal, and the ref didn't even blow. Like the ref was just not great. And it's a friendly, so I'm not going to care that much, but it's still, you don't like to see refs having those kind of performances. Again, it's a friendly. Hasn't stopped online footy experts from already calling for Amorim to get sacked, though, or already making long-term determinations on players. People need to quit reading too much into friendlies, to be honest with you. But there's one thing we did learn is that Amorim does not like what he sees from midfield, at least the pace. He lamented the lack of pace from midfield, which we kind of already knew. The midfield does not really have legs in it because these players were still players signed during an era in football and the transfers where you had kind of set roles. Sixes were your sixes, your eights were your eights, your tens were your tens. Now we're in Amorim's system, your midfielders, your eights, I guess, if you want to call them, for lack of a better word, they are old school midfielders. They are midfielders now. There's not number designations anymore. You need to be able to do a little bit of everything, which also means you need to be able to cover some grass. And Amorim said, we lacked pace, especially when it came to winning the ball back in midfield. And so is that something maybe he's trying to put out there to the board, let them know? Maybe is that a challenge just to the players? Is it him just kind of a throwaway comment, observation on the friendly? I don't know. Let me go what you guys think. So let me get caught up here real quick. Where are we at? Debasi says Shaw almost got injured. This is my surprise face. Yeah, we saw that coming. I'm surprised he made it off the bus without falling. So Agile says, so well worth 150 buy. No, I don't buy my shirts. I'll never understand. There are people who I'll go to the mega store. Like when you go on the stadium tour, the last stop, of course, they lead you through the back door and you go right into the mega store. They know what they're doing. But the people who go in there, like the trip over there is already expensive as is. But there are people who would literally drop like a G at the mega store because the shit is expensive. So no, I will not spend that much on a shirt. It's not going to happen. Sorry. I will buy whoever wins the giveaway. If we get to 3K before the first match of the season, I will spend that much on the winner because I care about y'all more than I care about buying it for me, but I'm not doing that. It's up to you. I just have a hard time spending that much on anything when I know if I could go on GoGoalShop, which you guys, there is a code in the description of the video and the main channel as well. You can get $5 off if you use that code to register at GoGoalShop. If you do that, you can get something a lot cheaper, and it's excellent, excellent quality. Literally would not know the difference. You guys have seen me wear a couple of those as well. So big up there. Debasi says, United and Ref don't walk hand in hand. Well, not according to rival fans over the years. Debasi says, I have paid bucks for MUTV sub. I feed the Glazers. Yeah, I did pay that earlier today. Just because you guys know I watch a lot of the Academy games. That's the only place you can watch them. So if I want to watch the Academy games, if we want to do any of those watch-alongs, I got to do it. So I do it for y'all. Really, it's your guys' fault. So well done. But $10 for the year for MUTV. The only reason I got it last year, Debasi, is because it was half off for the year. They did a 50% off special. So I was like $5 MUTV for a year. You might as well. It's cheaper than going to get a coffee from Starbucks at this point. So Agile says United usually put their shirts on sale halfway through the season as well. I like buying a good fake too. Yeah. Again, GoGoalShop. The link is in the description if you guys do want to use that code. Wait until the new shirts come out. I know the home strip is on there. I haven't seen if the away shirt is out there. Obviously, the third's not released yet. They've got training tops. They've got retro kits. They've got track suits. They've got women's stuff. They've got authentic. They've got replica. They've got socks, shorts. They got all sorts of shit on there. Kai says, hello. Welcome back, Kai. Good to see you again, man. We were just kind of talking about this friendly. What were your thoughts on this friendly? Did anybody... I mean, it's a friendly. I thought Leeds looked up for it. They were Nanto was doing us dirty there on the right-hand side for a bit, or on our left-hand side. They were really getting themselves out of trouble. Leeds. They were passing the really good triangles, getting us. I thought we kind of looked like a bunch of dogs, kind of chasing the ball everywhere it goes. It didn't really seem like we were pressing with kind of, I guess, with any sort of tactical kind of positioning. It just seemed like just chase the ball wherever you go. It didn't really seem like we were setting traps. It just felt like we were chasing the ball, if that makes sense. But again, it is a friendly. I'm not going to read too much into it, but it is what it is. Dubai says, yeah, let's have the under 18s watch along. We've done a couple. I'm hoping that Dylan and I, when we get to go there in December, we'll get to go to another academy match. You guys know Justin and I went to an FA Youth Cup game in January when we were over there. And it's a blast. If you have a chance to go to Lee Sports Village to watch an academy match, I suggest just paying the £25 to get the suite. You get food, you get the private suite, you get drinks, you get everything. It's awesome. It's definitely well worth it. So, but we have done a couple on the channel, Debasi. So hopefully we'll get to do some more. It's all just about timing and scheduling for me. You guys know that I've got like a job and a business to run. So, and then my wife got her stuff going on. She's literally in the next room is her office. So I can't exactly do a lot of stuff at the same time. So it adjusts. I tried to find a consistent stream on Buff Streams. Yeah, I started off with a bit of a dodgy stream site, and then the MUTV website started working again, so I was able to redo my subscription and get that going. But let's see what you guys hear. Debasi says, sweet, Danny, next time. Yeah. You guys, of course, I'll let you know. I don't do a ton of watch-alongs. Honestly, I feel like we've done more of the Academy watch-alongs than anything else. I think we did one Champions League watch-along last year, and we've done maybe one or two actual Premier League watch-alongs. But I'm usually watching the games someplace else, like at a pub or somebody's house or something. So I'm not really ever here for the matches. So as I said, didn't know MUTV was 10 for the year, but I pay much, yeah. I mean, if you can find a little streaming site, go for it. But I mean, $10, you get access, obviously, to most of the academy. I would say all, but not all of them are televised. Some women's matches, I think, are going to be on there. Except I think that they stream those on another streaming service too. It might be Paramount. I don't remember. Obviously, the preseason matches. Plus, you get access to all older matches. You get access to different documentaries and stuff. You get access to a lot of stuff. I've watched the 68 final a couple times already. I've watched the 08, 09 finals and stuff, and the treble stuff. You can watch all those matches on there, which is pretty legit. Like anyone, if you want to see some ballers, for those of you who are not old enough or maybe haven't, go watch the 68 final, you guys. That match was an absolute good. Ashton, excellent winger, underrated. Everybody talks about Best in Charlton and everything, but Ashton, go watch this guy. So Lucky is from Birmingham. Big up, Lucky. I like to know where people are watching me from. So get your thoughts in on that friendly today. Anything stick out at you? I mean, it's a friendly. I wouldn't read too much into it, but it is what it is. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. Danny B. Alex ? Be careful. Untick third-party access by Amazon. They want to see what you're watching. Well, everybody sees what you're doing everywhere now, man. It's how they get you. Yeah. Nothing's private anymore, man. And that's your information. That's where the real money is. They don't even really charge you to subscribe anymore. They just want your demographic information, because selling the demographic information to like marketing firms and whatnot, that is worth a ton of money. So this is why I don't do like The Athletic. I don't even look at like a whole lot of AP News stuff, because it asks me to sign in, and I'm like, I don't want to, because my information is just going someplace. So Alex question mark says, so Rashi got his dream move in the end. We'll see. We got the here we go, but we'll see how it goes. Rob is from London. Big up. What part of London? Are you like North London, but not North London anymore? Like Arsenal? Let me know where you're at, man. Lyle's from Joburg. Nice. I won't trouble you with my exact area. It's hard to pronounce. Interesting. I've always wanted to go to Africa. And it's the same with Australia. Growing up, I was like, I always want to go to Australia. I always go to Africa. And then as I got older and got more into like wildlife documentaries and stuff, I was like, oh shit, there is so much in Africa and Australia that will straight up kill you. And all the stuff that's the worst is the stuff that's like this big, like tsetse flies and like funnel web spiders in Australia and shit, king brown snakes. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll just watch a couple episodes of The Crocodile Hunter or Anthony Bourdain and I'm fine. I'm all set. But it's big up, man. Who else we got here? Oh, Justin in the chat said, "What's good? What is good, my guy? Hope you're doing." I think he's going to take a massive pay cut. Yeah, he is taking a pay cut. He's dropping his wages down to about $8.5 million a year. I don't know what that translates to. What is 8.5 million pounds? Math is hard. So it's dropping down. It's literally almost half of what he was contracted. He's about 165K a week. A little more than that is what it looks like. South London. All right, big up. Lyle's got a challenge for me here. Hold on. Blaubesrand. That's how I go. Blaubesrand. I'm going for it. That sounds like one of those like West Coast. I don't remember. Yeah, you'll have to let me know, man. If I got it right, I got it right. If not, I did not. Sorry. You guys are fine. Let's see here. All right, let's go. Let's move on here. Get your final thoughts in on that friendly as we go along. Like I said, not reading too much into it, but we still want to make sure we talk about it. So let's talk about this transfer window so far, because it has been interesting. So it started off with Diego Leon being made official. Matheus Cunha signed in really the first couple of days of this new kind of revamped transfer window that started a month earlier, if you guys remember. And then, yes, it took a month. It took a couple of rejected offers, but Bryan Mbeumo finally looks like that's getting over the line. We got that Here We Go yesterday. We talked about that. If you guys remember, we celebrated Mbeumo Day. As you can see, I've shaved since then. That my beard just saw the news in the morning, got so excited, and just popped up in solidarity. So, but I did shave. But my question, though, today, what I wanted to explore before we got this Rashford stuff going on, was what we think the rest of our summer will look like. I put out some polls the other day. Are we done? Is it sell to buy? Will we for sure buy more no matter what? So most people said sell to buy. Are we still aiming to strengthen in some positions? Does the business depend on selling players? What are we going to do? And that's what I want to look at now. I got it close enough. Awesome. Put it phonetically, and then I'll look at it and see what that looks like. So, Agile's got family in Australia. Big up. That looks fun. There are a couple of YouTubers I subscribe to that live in Australia. Rocket Kit, he's a fishing guy, kayak fishing guy. He's got a fun channel to watch. So, Justin says, good. Hopefully they make his move permanent. He'll change his attitude and bring back that leadership he had a couple years ago. Well, some people would never say that Rashford's had some leadership. I just think that I just wonder how guys like Rashford, Sancho, whatever, can still sit there with this bass in their voice and say this shit with chest and go through these interviews, and then like after nobody fucking wants to pay for him, they're trying to get take the hint, show some humility. You were popping all that good shit a second ago, and now you've gone into the woodwork. Sancho was popping all that good shit when he got to Chelsea. And then it didn't take long for both him and all these Chelsea fans who were also popping all that good shit to be like, oh shit, maybe he's just not good. So I just don't know where the humility is. Where's the self-awareness there? Where's the professionalism? So it's ridiculous. Alex question mark says, I think we get a keeper and a striker. Well, that's what we're looking at, because Romano seems to think that we are looking for a striker now that we've gotten the the Mbeumo stuff kind of wrapped up. Let me put this on the screen for you guys. This is coming from Romano yesterday. Manchester United plan to sign a new striker in the next few weeks as main target after Bryan Mbeumo's deal's done. Outgoings will be key for budget as Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford, Antony remain among players set to leave. So Romano sort of feeling like this is a sell to buy situation right now, but we are going to maybe look at a striker. What options are left though at striker? I don't get it. There's not many options left. Dharmesh Sheth with Sky Sports, he claims that Benjamin Sesko is actually on our list and that we've been watching him apparently for a couple of years now. He said, keep an eye on Sesko as the transfer window progresses. United have been monitoring his development for several years. Like, cool, but it doesn't make sense though, because Ineos have only been here a year. And even then, like, they weren't even so if we were watching him for a couple of years, is he still on the list? Because he was like that was a different group of people in charge of all that scouting and the recruitment before. So is he still on the list? I don't know. Some random journalists I've never heard of claim that we met with Sesko's agent this week. I did some polls the last day asking you between Watkins, Mateta, Sesko, and then like maybe just waiting a year until like more targets are available maybe in a year. I asked which one you guys would want, and most of you, including Twitter and YouTube, voted for Sesko. And so I don't know if that's a recency bias or if people actually really like Sesko. I don't know, but I don't know what you guys think about Sesko here. You guys, it's close in this poll here for Rashford's move to Barcelona, by the way, closer than I thought it was going to be. Debashi says, I just noticed Watkins' stats and he ghosted against Big Six, unlike Mateta. Yeah, Watkins is a tricky one because he's not bad. Like, I just don't want to spend a lot for a 29-year-old because you can say, well, we spent that much on Van Persie. Yeah, Van Persie and Watkins, different levels to this. Does he move the needle? People will say, well, he contributes goals. Okay, he does contribute goals, but like you're saying, Debasi, maybe he's just a flat track goalie. Maybe he's not doing it against the big teams, which can be the big difference maker. Now, we saw last year we did drop a lot of points to teams that really we should have done better at. And the problem was the mentality, the physicality. We just were not up for it when the people had to roll up their sleeves and actually have a fight, especially in that midfield. And I think that's a big problem. Obviously, we also were a complete failure, toothless in front of net as well. It doesn't help. Yarrow, big up, says, I've been fishing for news. If he comes back to United, it looks like we will get a loan fee of about $7 million. Either way, United earns money. I just want him gone. I don't want him here anymore. I'm tired of this. I mean, yeah, we'll get $5 million from Chelsea for Sancho, potentially $7 million. Thank you for that update. I haven't seen how much that fee is yet, but I'm like, can we not just have a clean break? Like, why are we doing this? Man? Lyle says it's pronounced blow boss runt. That what? All right, blow boss runt. Interesting. All right. If you say so. Rashford life has gone astray. He needs a change. Hopefully takes his chance. Yeah, I think he's just burned out. But which is fine. You can be burnt out. You can even want another challenge. You can't go about getting it the way that he did. Like, keep it behind closed doors. It sounds like to me, again, the modern player, the modern game, just wanting to save face, wanting to control the narrative. Because from the outside looking in, until he did that interview with Henry Winter, all we saw was, hey, you're dropped from the squad and you're not involved ever. And so, you've got to wrestle back the narrative, the leverage, the dynamic, the power shift in the dynamic. And so you try to get out ahead of it by going to do this interview. Like, it's like this weird power struggle now with players and stuff. And I'm very, very happy that the club actually backed Amorim in this instance, because we've seen many times that they haven't backed the managers. They backed the players. Jose Mourinho famously was not backed. And so it's going to be Tabasi thinks it's going to be Jackson. Jarl thinks that Sancho, 3 sources in Italy saying he's a done deal. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Adjust as a 24-year-old Casemiro would be great. Yeah, I mean, you could say that about most players. I would take a 24-year-old Griezmann still, because that dude is an absolute baller. If you could give me like a 26, 27, 28-year-old Luka Modric, I would pay literally half a bill for prime Luka Modric. You just would. Like, the guy's an absolute beast. But alas, time machines don't exist, unfortunately. Rob says, hopefully we get rid of Sancho's wages next. Yep, that would be nice. I'm just trying to figure out what we do for a striker here. Right now, it's literally evens for that Rashford Barcelona move. So Watkins, again, I think Watkins is too expensive. Mateta, I just don't really think Mateta is good enough, personally. And I think too many people are blurring the line between better than who we have and good enough for Man United. Because better than who we have, or better than we had last season, is a very, very low bar. Good enough for United is a high bar, and nobody's been there since like Cavani, really, if we're being brutally honest. So those are two separate things, and I think too many people are looking at our strikers that we have, and they're just willing to take anybody right now. Jackson, Mateta, Vlahovic. Like, we can do better, and if our top option is not available or whatever, then maybe we shouldn't just spend just to spend, because we'll be in the same situation next summer. I don't want Nicholas Jackson. I don't think he's good enough. Vlahovic, I saw it was reported that Juventus have like, they aren't. Remember, we saw that news that he wanted to terminate his contract. Now it sounds like from this other source, I forget where it was, that Juventus didn't want to do that. They want around 17 million for him. I'm not going to pay that for him because I don't think Vlahovic is good enough. I did see the Santi JFM on Twitter that made a report today that we've made contact regarding Randall Kolo Muani, which we saw reports like a couple months ago that linked us to him. I don't rate Kolo Muani that highly either. He's another player who had a good season at Frankfurt, dropped off the cliff since. So I'm just not going for it, man. Agile says, Shesko I have liked, but anything north of 60, I am not leaning towards it. Yeah, and Leipzig are just in the same boat we are. They're not in Europe. They're probably going to lose a few players. I know Xavi Simons is on his way out, probably, who's another player I really like. Obviously, Shesko is going to get a lot of the links. I like Nicholas Seawald. You guys know I put him in my video a while back of players who aren't in Europe that we should be looking at. He suits everything we need from midfield. He's got really good ball progression, good physicality in midfield. He's a good age. Ticks a lot of boxes, but it's not my call, apparently. So Yarl says Mateta could be an option since Palace looks to lose their spot in Europe. Yeah, I have no idea. They look to lose, like they could be losing Eze. I can't remember. Did Gehi end up going to Liverpool or not? I don't remember now off the top of my head. Yeah, Palace, they're trying like heck to. It's going to be a fire sale. Like, you're going to see Gehi's probably going at some time. Eze, Adam Wharton will probably go next summer for big money. So don't sleep on that. Probably like someplace like Liverpool or something, I imagine, unless he gets injured again. Rob says, Shesko, too inexperienced for me. Yeah, I remember a couple years back, it was Shesko and what's his face? Sasha Kalajic, who I think ended up going. Did he go to Wolves? I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. Wolves or Fulham, I don't remember. Those two were like, I remember they were very similar. I think Kalajic is a bit older though, but Shesko, he was deemed like the next big thing. It just hasn't quite gone his way. I've seen more bad from him than good, but he's still young, so maybe it's just, the right move, the right club, the right time could be all the spark he needs. We've seen that with some players. We talked the other day about Kyle George at Cruzeiro, who tried to go into Serie A, didn't quite work out, went back to Cruzeiro, and he's balling out right now. So go check out that scout report. That was a good one. Tabasi says, well, Rasmus Stats is making even the slightly over 10-goal striker label as good strikers. That's my point. I think that we need to just keep in mind that there's levels to this. Like, just because someone's scored, I mean, how many did he get last year, Mateta? Like, what, 14, 15 in all comps? I don't remember now off the top of my head. Like, that's not good enough. And I think that it was, you look at it two different ways, either like top striker with who we had, but now we've got Mbeumo Cunha is a 40-goal striker, the crucial priority right now. Some of you seem to think we're moving more towards midfield. Maybe I'll put it in the chat. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave this poll at 50-50 right now. 22 votes, y'all let it at 50-50. So I'm going to put it in the chat. What is your priority position to target next? All right, striker, CM. Goalkeeper. I don't know. I'll just put other. you guys let me know who you target next as we go along and have this fun little discussion out here. So Yaro says, I do not think Rashford wants to come back, so he's playing for a contract. The ball's in his court now. Yeah, but will he still play after he gets that contract is the question, because from what we've seen, that's kind of like he gets to that point and then he's like, all right, good, I've made it, I'm done. So Device says we aren't going to afford him now. Definitely can't afford him after 3 years, so he's out of the equation. Who are you talking about? Charles looking at Sorlot. I like Sorlot. He's at Atletico now. Didn't he move to Atletico Madrid these days? He's there with Alvarez as well, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong, though. Someone remind me. I'm way behind. Modric is great. Modric, if I'm putting together a starting 11, like dream team, Modric is like first name on my list, if I'm being quite honest. The guy is an absolute beauty to watch play. The way he just controls midfield, he sees passing lanes that just don't exist. It's amazing. It really is. Boss says, I like Shesko for his power shots, aerial duels, and no weak foot. Danny says, no, please. Nolo Moani for me, please. Agile B says, Vlahovic is too slow. I just don't think Vlahovic is that good. Like, his numbers are just not great. He had 10 league goals last season. He had like 16 the year before and only like 10. So he's scoring like over the course of 3 seasons what really would be my minimum for like 2 seasons from a top striker. And that's stretching it. That's like minimum in the league for the caliber of striker we need to be looking at. 18 goals over a season for 2 seasons is not, to me, moving the needle a whole lot even either. So you're talking about Lacroix. Yeah, I liked him when he was at Wolfsburg. Lacroix, he's very good. He's done a really good job for Palace too. I think he's been very good. One of those players who really transition well, I think. So, like he says, striker first, then midfield. Danny would take a 20-25 million pound gamble on Aroka Dere. We need a midfielder, and we can offer players to Genk, I think. We can offer players in loan. We can offer players to offset. We have a lot of youngsters who probably could go to the Belgian league and play rotation or go on loan and get some minutes. I mean, there's options there. Tabasha says goalkeeper, strikers, deadline day signing. Agile voted striker, but midfielder's close. Let me see what you guys are saying so far. You guys know I would have gone hard for a better goalkeeper right off the bat going into this window. So it seems like it's pretty good, but most of you guys are saying goalkeeper right now. I'll leave that open for a while here. So Danny says we need at least a center midfielder, striker, and a goalkeeper. If not, Ineos are jokers and not backing Amorim properly. Now remember too, Amorim could literally just say, I don't want a new goalkeeper. I don't want a striker. I don't want Amorim. They could be saying, hey, money is this. Who do you prioritize? And Amorim, even without that, Amorim could still say, no, I'll stick with Onana. Some of it could be Amorim kind of pitching in. Now, they backed Amorim with the Rashford stuff. They backed him with Garnacho. They backed him with all this stuff, right? And then they backed him when he didn't want to do this Amazon documentary as well, because it would be so. We have to think then that maybe they're backing him in these other areas. They backed him in a lot of ways. And so if we stick with Onana, I'm sure that Amorim has had a say in that. Now, it's not up to him like we've seen some other people, but that could be in there as well. Now, we're never going to know unless he literally gets sacked and comes out and just says that. But Amorim isn't completely been on his own. He's been backed. Backing is not just signing players. It's what he's done so far as well. He has been backed. So, Box, big up Box. Yo, Sean, Amorim must be mad if he doesn't want to go. You guys know I've been saying that. Now, just because it's what I want, and if the club doesn't do it or Amorim doesn't do it, doesn't mean that I think they're automatically idiots. It's just they didn't do what I would have done. It is what it is. But I definitely would have gone hard for a new goalkeeper, someone young, something younger, I would say. You guys know I loved some Andre Lunin, Carnesecchi. Don't know what happened there. Bolka, Chevalier. There's a ton of goalkeepers out there. Lamens as well. Debas says, imagine if we get Shesko for 60 million. Arteta will have sleepless nights. Charles says, Ineos are bending backward for Ruben for the moment. In some ways, yes. I think they're backing him in terms of kind of resetting this culture, kind of shifting it to what they want it to move forward. They're backing him hard as far as that's concerned and getting some personalities out of the club, resetting the dressing room culture. They're backing him a lot in that regard. I will say that. So, Debashi says, demote Onana. Well, we can't have Onana just chilling on the bench. That's a lot of money on the bench not to play. So we'd have to get that figured out soon. So Bach says, Heaton looking like our best bet now. Vitek has been out. I don't know what happened to Vitek. Obviously, we saw the traveling squad was announced yesterday. Vitek's name was not on that list. I couldn't tell you if that means anything. He's, 21, 22 now. He had a really good loan. Similar to Matty Kovar, he probably just wants to play. He's not going to get that guaranteed here. I think the writing's on the wall with Vitek, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Another young academy goalkeeper that never got a shot, which is unfortunate. We've gone through that list many, many times. Joel Pereira, Sam Johnstone, Dean Henderson, Matty Kovar, now Radek Vitek. I'm sure there are many other ones out there as well that I just can't remember now off the top of my head. Gracic, we just let go for free. So it is what it is, man. Lucky, big up, guys. Jarl says Vitek is being sold, I think. Yeah, and it's fine. And maybe if we can throw him at Royal Antwerp and with some cash and get Senne Lammens, I think Vitek could go to Antwerp and do just fine. I think he'd excel in the Belgian league in a couple of years. He could probably get a move to a Bundesliga club, and who knows? I think he's that good, which is unfortunate because it doesn't seem like the club rates him, unfortunately. Agile says, I haven't seen Lammens yet, but I would be all in for bringing a talented young keeper. Yeah, Lammens is the truth, man. I'm telling you right now. He is whatever the question is, Lammens is the answer. But apparently we're looking at strikers. Darmasheth again claiming that we're keeping an eye on Shesko. I don't know what's there. Watkins, Mateta, Vlahovic, Kolomowani. We've been linked to a lot of them. I couldn't tell you if we're actually in for any of them. I'm not sold on anyone that's left, especially for the prices that I'm seeing, and that's including the 17 million being floated for Vlahovic. I wouldn't spend 17 million on Vlahovic. That's just the way it is. So, but that's why my option in those polls yesterday was, do we wait a year? Sometimes, yes, I hate giving Liverpool credit, but the way that they've gone about their rebuild is why they're in the position they are right now, is because when Virgil van Dijk, when they couldn't get him, when they got done for tapping up and they couldn't get him, they didn't just go and spend whatever. They said, okay, this is who we see as part of our project. We'll wait 6 months or whatever. If there's a striker out there who's maybe not available or whatever, and if I like Arokadera, we were linked. I don't know how legitimate those links were, but if he's not on the list, he's not on the list. It's just the way it works. Gyökeres, we looked at. Oshiman, we were linked with. Doesn't seem like we wanted to pay the salary. So who knows what's going to happen. But Adja says Belgian league is where the golden gems are. Yeah, we've seen a lot of really good players from the Belgian league. Some of them work out. Some of them don't. We can't talk about he who shall not be named, or else I'm ending the chat. I will turn the car around. Big up. So what are you guys saying here? So far, it's fluctuating. It's literally split. Striker, center midfielder, goalkeeper. You guys can't have three favorites. It's got to be one or the other. Darko, welcome back, Darko. Good to see you again. Any mistakes and unnecessary decisions you would want Amorim to avoid as improvement to what's available to him from his side? I mean, nothing more than I haven't said. So you guys remember, I'll put back up on the screen. You guys remember when Dylan and I did our New Year's resolutions video for Amorim? One of my big things was figure out your strongest 11, stop tinkering. Stop tinkering. We don't need to spend 2 months tinkering. There was a period of time where we didn't have the same starting 11 for a long run of games. You don't need to do that. I think Amorim's biggest issue has been this team selection, both in the match with his subs and just starting 11 sometimes. I do think he played a role in why we struggled against Spurs in the final. He did not match the midfield energy. I thought Garnacho should have started that match. I'm not saying I'm right, he's wrong. I had my doubts, and I wasn't the only one. So it is what it is. But I do think Amorim has got a lot to make up for in that regard. I will say that. I'm not going to go in on systems and formations because I don't think that those are as big of a deal as people seem to think. Playing a back three is not going to be some weird deal breaker, final straw for success or failure in the Premier League. It has nothing to do with formation. It has everything to do with system. And the system, unfortunately, requires a lot more from the players we have than they're able or willing to give, whether that's mentality, whether that's energy, whether that's fight, leadership, and initiating situations on the pitch. we don't have players that are up for that. And that's just the way it is. We've seen it laid bare over many years. The fitness is not there. Many managers have lamented that lack of fitness. It is what it is. And so we're just now at a point where we're starting to rebuild in that regard. And it's going to require getting rid of a lot of players. And it's not going to happen in one summer. And so, yes, Amorim can help that by making hard choices and sticking with the players that are up for it, that best suit the system in their best positions possible, and getting the best out of them. But you have to rotate at times, so it's just going to be up to him to kind of figure that out. And he will make mistakes. It's going to happen. Fergie made mistakes. All managers will make mistakes. How many finals has Pep lost because he just overthought and got in his own head and overcomplicated things? It's going to happen. It's one of the potential drawbacks of being a manager, being like smart, intelligent person. Sometimes you get in your own way with that, if that makes sense. You can overthink and overcomplicate things. And I do think managers do that. So what we got here? Danny says, this system, I don't think it's going to work. He doesn't have the players. He doesn't have the players, but then we get into that age-old debate that's been going on since he got here. Should he abandon his principles like everybody criticizes Ten Hag for, or should we persist until the players come in? I favor the latter. A lot of former players, a lot of coaches, a lot of pundits will say the same thing. Don't listen to Robbie Savage. Don't listen to Alex Crook or Simon Jordan. These guys, I don't even call them pundits. They're just guys in front of a microphone. Ironic, I know. I think it can work because we've seen it work at Sporting. We've seen it work in the Champions League. We've seen it work against Premier League opposition. I mean, he literally destroyed Pep. It can work. And yes, we don't have the players, but that's not on Amorim. He's got to play the way we bring in managers for the way they play, for the system they play, for the culture they try to instill and lay foundations for. We have to stick with that because Amorim is a representative of what we're trying to do as a club, which is a new direction for us. It used to just be manager first, players, system second. Now it's like Liverpool have done, and I have no problem with that. So, but he does need to find a way, yes, to get a little bit more out of these players, but sometimes it's going to mean not playing them. Sometimes it's going to mean changing a little bit on the pitch. If you can get certain aspects, certain traits from some players, you might have to sacrifice some things in order to put yourself in the best position. Just, it is what it is. So kind of like what we've seen in some situations where, against some opposition, like going into the international break last season, we started to set up a little deeper, hit people more on the break a little bit because of the players we had available to us and the opposition. That was a sacrifice I'm sure Amorim didn't want to make, but it needed to be done for a second. So the system wasn't necessarily different. We just tweaked it a little bit based on the opposition and based on who we had. I don't have a problem with that. Everybody does that now and then. It's not a big deal. It does, and that doesn't mean you've abandoned your principles. Sometimes you do have to find that balance between sticking to your system and then adjusting a little bit based on the opposition. Pep should have done that a lot when he played Ollie because Pep refused to change his system. Ollie had his number because we just played counterattacking football, exploited that space in behind, beat their early press, and we just had a field day. Pep did not realize that sometimes just sit your defenders a couple yards back deeper, like put maybe another body back there. Like, it's not that difficult. Doesn't mean you're abandoning your principles. It just means you're just putting yourself in the best position to get a result. It's not rocket science. Danny thinks Bruno will get him sacked if he thinks he can build around him. I like Bruno, but it's clear as day he's killing the system. Well, that's going to be, and then that's one of those decisions, again, that's going to make or break a manager. I think that what Amorim sees in Bruno extends beyond the pitch in some ways in terms of a constant leader in that dressing room, the leader on the pitch as well, some sort of bridge between old and new for the next year or so. And I think we can still sell Bruno to the Saudi League in a couple of years, even in another year, if that's the case. It is what it is, but we'll see. We don't know yet what's going to happen with Bruno in the squad. I think that it's clear as day that the position that he's going to play from now on is maybe going to be a deeper role, maybe with a little bit more license to move around. But that's being said, we will need midfielder with legs and fight. Like an Ugarte who's just a little better on the ball is basically what we're going to need. But an Ugarte with a little bit more reading of the game, because I fully agree with Carl Anka, who said yesterday that Ugarte is a back foot defender, not a front foot defender, where it means Ugarte is kind of chasing the play to make a recovery tackle rather than timing his in anticipating and breaking up the play before it gets to that point. So that, to me, again, he's young. It is what it is, but that's just, I kind of went off on a tangent there. It's all right. If you want Baleba, be prepared to shell out about 100 million, Dabasi. Box says, spend the center forward money on Wharton, push Mbeumo to center forward, Marcos Fernandez to attack in mid. Yeah, and that's the beauty. We've got guys like Cunha and Mbeumo can play striker. They have played striker in the past. Cunha has played striker at Atletico Madrid. It can happen. I'm going to say it again. I would have no problem going with a 3-5-2. I made this a while back. I never got a chance to use it. I'll share it with you now. When I was baking a starting 11 that I wanted to see. I don't know if you guys can see that. Here, let me do this. Oops, wrong button. This was my starting 11 when I wanted to shift to a 3-5-2. You can see I've got Andre Lunin, Yoro, Delit, Mazraoui down there. I've got Hackney in a deeper role, Menu, Bruno as these eights, Ahmad Dorgu, and then I've got Mbeumo and Cunha as the front two. That as a 3-5-2, I think would work wonders personally. But again, not up to me. I'm probably living in dreamland. It is what it is, but what are you going to do? Rob really rates Ugarte. I like Ugarte. He just could stand to add a little bit more strings to his bow, if that makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. He's still young enough to where he could do that personally. But it is what it is. Agile says a 3-4-1-2 confirm. Yeah, and you could do that with this. You can put, like a Bruno a little higher and whatnot. But it is what it is. So Bach says how to replace Dorgu Mazraoui. This was just based on who we had at the time. And then Licho's injured, so it is what it is. But again, I had made that like a month ago. It is what it is. Things change, but just thought I would share that since we were on that topic a little bit. But I like a 3-5-2. I think it's a good system. I think and with who we have right now, I think it suits the lack of legs. Now, obviously, we could do something different if we improve the midfield, then you don't have to worry about it as much. But what it is, what are you guys saying here? Goalkeeper is winning, so you guys know how to get on my good side. So strikers, I don't know what's going on there. Supposedly, we're looking at strikers now that we've got Mbeumo still wrapped up, but we'll see. Speaking of strikers, though, why don't we take a look here? Why don't we shift gears, you guys? Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you subscribe. And if you want to get involved in these sort of scouting reports, i.e. making suggestions, memberships are the best way to do that. But speaking of strikers, let's look at one that I've been watching for a little while. Say hello to 23-year-old Costa Rican striker Manfred Ugalde. He plays for Spartak Moscow in the Russian Premier League. He joined Spartak January of 2024, so like a year and a half ago. He joined them from FC 20 in the Eredivisie. So between the two clubs that season, he had combined 10 goals, 6 assists in 41 appearances, and that was back when he was like 21, 22. But very good stats. Last season, 18 goals, 3 assists, led the Russian Premier League in goals, second for goals per 90, 4 goals, 1 assist in one match against Lokomotiv Moscow as well, and that was back in November. So literally 4 goals, 1 assist in one match is the beast mode. He's also got 8 goals, 5 assists in his last 9 appearances for the Costa Rican national team as well. And so he's doing really, really good. He's 5th, I think, for shots on target right now, too. He's a 6-time team of the week as well this past year, this kid. I've been watching him for a little while, like I said. Looking at his heat map, you can see he's very good at link-up play, very good movement, very good at dropping deep, very good at timing. He's got really good reading of the game. And as you can see, he's able to get a lot of touches and contribute to the build-up, not just sit in the box, but he does get a lot of goals in the box as well. Very dynamic, very mobile, loves to play off the shoulders of defenders, loves to find space in and around the ball, loves to play in the half spaces and the channels, which is why I think he could be a really good fit for us. Compare him to someone like Sergio Aguero, Gabriel Jesus, Julian Alvarez, one of these kind of mobile, running, wants to get on the ball strikers, even like Acuna a little bit. But again, he's very good. He's a little shorter, so he's like 5'8", but he's got that low center of gravity is not necessarily a deal breaker, because what it allows you to do is it improves your balance. It allows you to ride challenges, and allows you to receive the ball in tight spaces and turn your defenders or ride those challenges to create space for yourself. We see people like Messi do this all the time. But what I really like too is he presses the ball really, really well. He will contribute to a lot of presses, a lot of ball, a lot of possession won in the final third as well. He was actually tied for the top 16 spaces in the Russian Premier League when it came to possession won in the final third. So he's really good. He's shorter, obviously, so he's not going to be winning any aerial duels. But if you look at some of his numbers, so again, really good, top 20% pretty much for chances created, top 20% almost for defensive actions for strikers, 93rd percentile for goals, 85th percentile. So when you see shot attempts, sometimes it's not good, but when you have high shot attempts and you have a high goal percentage, that means you're doing a good job. So he's Costa Rican though. Openda, agile. I liked Openda. You guys know I scouted him a couple years ago. Openda lives offside though. The guy is offside pretty much all the time. But as far as Ugalde is concerned, in a system where he's allowed to press, where he's allowed to drop a little deeper, where he's allowed to use his pace, and his movement and his reading of the situation to find the space, to get into the channels, to make runs, to get on the end of things, I think he'll thrive, i.e. in a Ruben Amorim system. Now, reportedly, he wants to leave Spartak Moscow. He's got a 25 million release clause. Spartak are really holding out. They don't want to sell him for anything less than that. Lots of Premier League clubs linked to him. Pretty much all the heavy hitters been linked. Spartak also recently rejected a 15 million euro bid from Feyenoord, so well below what they're asking for. I think this kid could be something special, worth a shout to, similar to like we were looking at Kyle George the other day. Good age, pretty much on the cusp of doing something, making his next move. Let me see what you guys are getting in here for. Jarl, I don't know if anybody's allowed to buy players from the Rush thing. I don't know why you'd be able to. I don't know why the players should have to suffer personally, but I don't think Russia are allowed to participate in like FIFA-based events, I think is what the issue is personally, but it is what it is. Yeah, Agile, all the good strikers are. Well, that's why you got to have a really good scouting, really good data, really good recruitment team to identify those next big things, and get them early before they go to Brighton's, before they go to Benfica's, before they go to Dortmund, and you're spending like 100 million on them. Let's see. Niche fan, big up. He's not Russian. He's not Russian. He plays in the Russian Premier League. Big up. Let me get caught up here, you guys. I did not. Is there an actual embargo on Russian players playing Europe? Because Feyenoord literally just bid for him and it was rejected by Spartak Moscow. So I don't know. You guys, if you're European, you tell me. But if Feyenoord bid for him, then I don't know if there is one. So yeah, that's what I said. I said the other day, man, it doesn't really matter to me how short or tall you are. If you're athletic, you're athletic. I told you guys, I'm 6'2". I had a roommate in college who was like 5'9", but he's just more of an athlete. Now, he played football in high school, like American football, cornerback, receiver. So he's just got better like jumping ability. He's just better at it. So he used to beat me all the time. So who says he's Russian? No, I don't think anyone's saying he's Russian, but it is what it is. Debasi says you divide every stat by 3 in the Premier League. Well, you guys know I want to hire some sort of mathematical genius to create an algorithm that converts goals between different leagues so I can see how much a goal in the Premier League is worth in like the Eredivisie or something. If we could do that, if somebody could do that, literally, they would make so much money from clubs. They could sell that algorithm to every club or just sell it to like Opta or something, and just bank. Just make bank. Agile says a 25 million would be a deal worth looking at. He's got good goals. I think that someone like Arokadere, someone like Kyle George, someone like Ugalde could be a good option to come in and challenge maybe for a year. They're all cheap, relatively the same cost, like that 20 million mark. And I think it'd be worth it. But again, not up to me. And just because I say I like him doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a great fit. So supposedly, Jarl, there are a lot of Premier League clubs who are looking at him right now. So I don't really know the rules. So if somebody knows, let me know. I just don't know. I haven't seen anything that says you can't. And again, I don't understand why how that would be fair to the player personally. Because, and I don't understand why it would be fair to the league itself, because it's not like the league has anything to do with anything that's going on. And so it's interesting, but I'm not going to get into politics because I don't really know enough about it. So Danny says Flamengo have a couple of really good prospects. Yeah, there's going to be a lot down in the Brazilian league. Like I said, we talked about Caio Jorge at Cruzeiro yesterday. Another one who's very, very good right now, having a really good season. Yeah, Wallace Yand. Yeah, Danny loves him. So let's see. American football players are a piece. Yeah, some of them are massive. There was one that used to go to church I would go to. He was a receiver. He's just a massive guy, man. Just big dude. So, Katu, welcome back. Sign him just to have Manfred Ugalde and Manuel Ugarte in the same team. Yeah, just to watch the commentators mess it up over and over again. Would be like Ugarte pass to Ugalde, and no, wait, no Ugalde, no Ugarte. I don't know. Sign him up if he's cheap. Matata, welcome back. Do you watch American footy when it's not the United States? You guys are funny. So that's your scouting report for the day. I will go ahead and remove that from the screen because we're done there. So yeah, we did that while we're talking about strikers. What do you guys think? So it seems like maybe the scouting report has made some of you push towards striker, because now striker is leading the votes for what position you want to target next. So what about midfielders though? Is that a priority? Like I said, Amorim commented after the Leeds match that we lack pace in midfield, especially when it came to winning back the ball. Was he making it clear what he wants from Ineos? The Richard Rios links have gone quiet. They were never really super loud to begin with, if I'm going to be honest with you. Fabrizio claimed today that Benfica are planning to hold talks for him after Roma failed with their bid. So it sounds to me like Palmeiras are trying to get a little bit of a bidding war going. I got to get water. It's really hot. I just spilled that again. I'm an adult. So I haven't really seen a whole lot on Rios. We got a little bit of reports last week that maybe we were going to come in for a bid. We'll see. If we get Rashford gone, again, doesn't really help for us if we don't sell Rashford, because we're not getting money for him now. So it is a bit unfortunate. So a little bit of a bummer there. Ederson, I have not seen anything on Ederson in months, so I don't think that's going to happen. Have we really even been linked to anyone else, though, from any sort of credible source in terms of midfielders? I can't say that we have. And realistic, I mean, there are a lot of options, but what realistically would the options be? I don't know if you guys saw, so I've talked about Karanka already. He was on Stretford Paddock yesterday, and he was waxing poetic about Hayden Hackney and Lamine Camara. A little late to the party, Karanka, aren't you? Because we've been talking about these guys for months. There are a ton of midfielders out there. We've scouted a lot of them all over the gaff. We've scouted these players. But we've only really been semi-seriously linked with like Richard Rios, and even then, those are tentative at best. Nemecha, you guys remember we linked to him a few months back. He who shall not be named, we were linked with for the last little while. I just don't know who else we've been doing it. So let me see what you guys are saying here. Niche fan says we need to sign Vardy on a free. Oh, no. I can't hang with you on that one, man. The guy's almost 40. So Danny says we have 3 priority problems. You shouldn't have to pick one. Well, that's sometimes part of it. We can't do all the business at once. Sometimes money, sometimes availability, sometimes, and honestly, sometimes if you're not able to clear dead wood, you can't afford the wages. If you can't sell players, you can't keep bringing in players. You can't. It's not sustainable. You're not even allowed to do that. And you don't necessarily want to bring in a ton of players in one window. That's caused problems in the past for clubs. The rebuilds need to be patient. I'm not saying that means just don't try or anything if the right player is available, but there's a lot of factors at play, and it is shit. It is what it is. Ineos are dealing with a lot of shit that they inherited. I do think there's more that they could have done to prepare for this, but it's not my call. It's academic at this point. So Danny says Ineos need to provide them and not piss off. It doesn't seem to me, Danny, like Ineos are they're on some sure footing in terms of you. I think they're on thin ice as far as you're concerned. AdScan, welcome to the channel. Says striker first. Well, get involved in the vote. So far, striker's winning. It's got almost half the votes. So indeed, he been rumored. Yeah, I remember we were linked with that when he had that like relegation clause or whatever. I don't know how serious those links were. He was one of my picks a while back when we looked at relegation sides. I've always liked Ndidi. I think that the season in the championship did him good in terms of he turned him into a little bit more of a box-to-box. We saw him kind of used again as that deep-lying kind of destroyer, because I think when you're a relegation side, you are going to kind of set up shop a little bit and you're going to play it a little bit more conservatively. I think that that's just the way it goes for these relegation sides. So, again, the example I used was looking at the World Cup a couple years back. Everybody thought, what's his face? I always forget his fucking name now. So Amrabat. Everybody thought Amrabat was this deep lying like midfield destroyer because of that tackle from I think he put on Mbappe and the way that Morocco played. But that's not the case. He's a ball progressing midfielder. But when you go into the World Cup and your nation is like ranked 27th or whatever, you are going to shut up shop and play a little bit like a bottom half Premier League side. That's just the way it is. And so the way that plays a role as well, but we'll see. Debasti says, me, Sean, and Danny were talking about Kamara since, I've been talking about Kamara for a while. Jay says, quick one. I know this has already been established already, but who is better? Ederson. Okay, what did I just say about he who shall not be named? I will turn the car around, Jay. But they are very different players, so keep that in mind. Derek says, age discrimination. Be careful. Who's age discriminating? Who's discriminating age-wise in there? I will have none of that. Matata says, Ndidi greater than Ugarte for now. I think Ndidi's got, when you're literally 4 or 5 years older, yeah, you are probably going to be better. I think that people underestimate what experience at the top level does for you, which is why I never compare Rasmus Højlund to an older striker, because he's a young striker. We can't expect 28-year-old striker stuff from a 22-year-old. It's just not going to happen. Ndidi's been playing longer than Ugarte. He's much older in that position. He is going to be probably better. It's just the way it is. Unless you're literally like an outlier like Baleba or Caicedo or something, which I don't think Ugarte is on that level. Now, maybe that says something. Maybe we should be looking a little higher. Maybe we can do better. Not up to me. Maybe Amorim agrees. He barely played Ugarte the last couple of games of the season. No minutes in the final against Spurs, which I do think played a role in why we lost that midfield battle. But Niche fan wants Vardy just for the season. What is he, 38? Is a 38-year-old Vardy going to get you the goals you need, though? I just don't see it personally, but everyone, hey, to each his own. Cadu says, I think midfield is very important, but we have too many players there. Yeah, and I've said that before. We have a lot of midfielders. Now, whether or not those midfielders are quality enough is a different story, because Casemiro probably shouldn't be sold if we could get money for him. Collier, I go back and forth on. He's barely played. He's older than a lot of people think, Collier, and so I'm like, Mainu, so many people don't even still know where Mainu is going to play in this system. Ugarte, a lot of people are saying like maybe he's not good enough, and that leaves Bruno, who a lot of people don't even think is going to be good in that role, and a lot of people don't think he should be here anymore. A lot of people think he's going to hurt the system. So when you break it down, yes, we have a lot of bodies, but are all those bodies good fits for the system? That's a separate debate. Again, not saying you're right and wrong, but you can't always get blood from a stone when it comes to, hey, Ugarte, be better at passing. Well, it just doesn't happen overnight. Casemiro, be faster. That's not going to happen. It's just not. Collier, don't get injured. Can't really control that. Mainu, you could probably do a little bit more with, but that's going to be on Mainu as well. Bruno, we know what you're getting from Bruno. He's not going to really do anything differently. So you got to be realistic in the kind of things you think a manager is capable of doing, because managers just aren't. They can't just make players better. Like, no one is going to just make McTominay a deep-lying playmaker. At 26, 27, you know what you're getting from McTominay. There's nothing really else you can do. So Niche fan says, someone's going to sign Vardy. He will get 20 goals. Yeah, he might. If he plays like in the championship or something, he could I wouldn't be surprised to see Vardy rock up at Wrexham or something. Do you imagine that? Just that's exactly the kind of striker that Wrexham will buy. Wouldn't put it past them. I know Wrexham have made some big changes going into this summer. I think, what's his face? Who's that striker? Mullen, I think, went on loan now. They've got another young striker coming in. They just signed a defender from, I think, Como, Wrexham. So they're trying to stay. Dude, Danny, why are you doing this to me, man? Derek says, I don't coach day to day, but who to buy, ask the players themselves. Yeah, the players choose a team. Like, the players have to step up. I don't think it should take this long to see who's got it and who doesn't. I think we should have known that already. But what are you going to do, man? Matata United says, Sean, were we fair to Amrabat in terms of game time and position? Not necessarily, but it's also on Amrabat. He didn't do a lot to cover himself in glory early on. He ended up doing really well later on. But I was at that Palace game where he got shoehorned at left back. Like, yeah, I don't think that was the best thing to do. But I do think that a lot of people kind of misprofiled him based on that World Cup alone, when he's more of a Carrick than he is an N'Golo Kante. Don't look at the World Cup as who Amrabat. Nobody knew who he was until that World Cup. And so I think that if you look at his numbers at Fiorentina the year before, you'd see his ball progression was on point. Like, he's a ball progressor, and we just never really did that with him, unfortunately. So Danny says, sell Collier. I wouldn't say no to it. I don't really know what he was doing today. I saw him on the pitch, and I'm like, why are you playing in the right wingback role, bro? He was way up on the opposite side. I'm like, who's that blonde bastard up there signaling for the ball? And I'm like, why is Collier playing right wingback? That was messed up, man. Debasi thinks the mega offer is history. It might not get as much for him, but he could still go to the Saudi league in a year or two. It wouldn't be the problem. So Matata says Vardy would be our best center forward. Not hard to do. And that's what I mean. There's a difference between better than who we have and good enough. Those are two separate things. So Lucky likes Mateta. Jay says Ugarte is good, but he's not a DM. I think we should stop expecting too much from certain players. Yeah, I think that's fair. That some of the players I think we're asking a little too much from. So, but again, I think the players themselves do have some room to kind of step up in different ways as well. Lucky, I think Watkins does. I just don't want to spend a lot on a 29-year-old because you're never going to get that money back. And what you're saying when you spend big on a 29-year-old is that this player is going to be the factor in getting a trophy over the line or getting for a top 4 push or whatever. And I just don't see that in Watkins. Goals themselves, yeah, we can look at the goals, but that's not enough necessarily. We got to look a little bit more than that. So Box says Amorim not playing people in correct positions. Well, at least we're not seeing Mazraoui as a 10, so he's got that going for him. But you guys, I don't know what's going on with midfield though. But about the question too, like, which of United's midfield should be looking over their shoulder then if we're looking at midfielders at all? Casemiro could probably leave it for free in a year. I don't think he really cares as long as he's getting paid. Collier, I said many times, throw him in some cash at Middlesbrough, go get Hayden Hackney, throw him in cash at Motherwell, go get Lennon Miller. I don't know, man. I think there's options there. Ugarte, should Ugarte be looking over his shoulder? He barely got minutes the closing end last season. Mainu, people still don't really know what kind of midfielder he's going to be in this system. Does he have the passing range? I think he's got the press resistance and the ability to drop deep and build the attack. I think he's really good on the ball, but he's still got a lot to go physically. I think he did do well today to show a lot of that press resistance, that ability to ride challenges, to spin, create space. But I think that he's still young. Like, I don't expect a lot from Manu, and it's not, and with him, it's about age. We saw him get a little bigger towards the tail end of last season, so we'll see if he can keep going. But we'll see what happens. You guys are funny. The boss says Cunha and Mbeumo can make any average striker good. Well, you saw where Cunha was getting most of his touches in the final third. He was literally in and around the edge of the box, which is why I'm like, dude, 3-5-2, man. Like, just let it happen. So, but you guys let me know what you think about midfielders, because the next thing I want to chat about, the next position, you guys, 45% of you still think striker. What about keepers? That was up there for my top priority position this summer. For a second, it kind of seemed like Onana's injury was going to make it priority 1. It just doesn't seem to be the case now. Vitek probably is going to leave. Bayandier's agent reportedly was at Carrington this week to discuss his future, but then he started today. So, keeper's got to start. It is what it is. Ben Jacobs reminded us all this week of our reported long-standing interest in Royal Antwerp Kickers Sen Lamens, who we've been talking about for a while on the channel. Like, for Sen Lamens, dude, you could literally offer them 15, 16, 17 million. You might just have to pay like 6-7 million up front That's literally just your Alvaro sell on money, and we're set. Like we're set there. Like I don't get why this is like that's piss money. Like that's money you saved on the free lunches for the staff. Throw it at Sen Lamens up front for Royal Antwerp. Then you've got another couple seasons to pay off another 8 million. Like that's come on, that's piss money right there. But again, it's just one of those deals that just makes too much sense. And when a deal makes too much sense, it just doesn't seem like it's a deal that we go for at this club, which is so agonizingly frustrating at times. Box likes Jorge Strand Larson. That's the Wolf striker, right? So Danny says Lamens, Hackney, 40 million just to get it done. Yeah. See, Danny, we should just rock up there in suits, show up, kick down the doors, and be like, yo, we're here to fuck shit up. We'll turn this around literally in a year. Give us the money and just go away. You can even take credit for it. We care that much about the club. Let's do it, man. Maybe they'll fly us out to South America or Belgium or something to do some scouting. Hackney and Ederson says Debasi. Debasi says Lamens. Marco Esfilar. Box says we have an extra 17 million now. Rashford wages are 0. It's true. We've got some money coming in. I would prefer to have gotten a fee, but it is what it is. Kai says Hackney and a goalkeeper. I'm glad that everybody's riding the Hackney train, man. Carl Anka's a little late to the party, but maybe he watches the channel. I don't know. Big up Carl Anka. We are LinkedIn buddies, so I'll take that. We'll do that. Emi Martinez is reportedly more interested in the United than we are in him. You guys know I'm not really a big fan of Emi Martinez. He's not bad. I just don't want to spend that much on a keeper who's about to be 33, who is on the tail end of his career here. Romano reported that there was an option. United were apparently considering a swap in an effort to save money for a striker, a swap for Emi Martinez. I don't know who we would have swapped that would have made sense, though, personally. I just can't think off the top of my head aside from, I don't know, Mount, maybe. I have no idea. I would swap Mount, but I just don't rate it. Mount, to his credit, Mount looked pretty good today, especially in and around the box. He was chasing everything down. He was holding it up. He was turning, getting involved, trying to find his teammates. I do think he made the wrong pass more often than not. Like too many times I thought he was trying to turn and put the ball back across the face of goal rather than lay it off to an oncoming runner. I think there was a time where I think it was Dorgu or Mainu was the better ball. They were making a late run to the other box. We tried to put it back post or something, and I just thought it was like stuff like that. We'll iron that out. And plus, isn't Emi Martinez going to miss the first 3 matches of the season next year because he got a straight red, right? So even if you get him, he's not playing for the first 3 matches. So Danny says, yeah, I never wanted Ugarte, to be honest. Debasi, Neves, Zubimende, yeah. João Neves, I mean, that's the one that got away as far as I'm concerned. That was rough. That was a rough one to take. Zubimende was pretty good too. I like Zubimende a lot. There are a lot of good midfielders out there. I'm not going to go through the list again. You want to go know who they are, go watch the last couple months of my videos. You'll see them. There's a ton of them out there, but they are out there. Some of them are getting ready to move, but we'll see. Debasi says swap Onana for Martinez. We're not gaining anything. Yeah, you can't do a straight swap on paper. You can make it look like you're paying money, and you can call it a straight swap. But we will lose money PSR wise if we don't sell Onana for at least like 30 million. I think. Same with Højlund for like 45 million or whatever. And we're already in a struggling situation. We can't afford to take any more PSR hits. So it is what it is. So I don't know what's going on with keepers. We'll see. Romano claims that we were looking at the swap, though, because we're trying to save money for a striker. So, again, there's that whole after Mbeumo priority as a striker. Maybe a swap for Emi Martinez because we're holding out for a striker. Sounds like striker is next on the list. Now, how big of a profile we're looking at now that we've got Cunha? I mean, you could just go hard in the paint and just get another 40 goal a season striker on top of Mbeumo, on top of Cunha, Ahmad, Bruno. Like, you could just say, F it. We're just going to outscore everyone. We don't care. Someone's going to score with those 3 in and around the box. But I think that there are some hidden gems out there, and we've spoken about several of them many times on this channel. So I think that you look at players who are coming on the upward trajectory, like a Biareth, like an Aroca Dere, someone who they're younger, they're in their early 20s to like 23, 24, and you can see the trajectory of their goal involvements over a couple seasons increasing steadily. That's what you want to look for. Not plateaus, not peaks. You want to look for upward trajectories. I mean, you're going to get that from these guys, and you can really take advantage of that now. Get them young, get them at a low price, get them cheap, and continue that trajectory with good coaching and a good system around them. I think we've got good players around them now, and that will elevate these guys to another level. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if Watkins was pushed over the line. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that. And I'm fine with Watkins. I just don't want to spend some of the money that I've seen like rumored to be the fee for that is my biggest issue with that. Same with Emi Martinez. So why you guys got to make me cry talking about Cherki and Nippon and Yashari? I said it. Sorry, I said his name. Bach says if Amorim chooses Jackson, I don't know if Amorim has as big a say though, and that's the thing. He's not. I think that it's not like a video. I'm not saying you think this, Box, but I think this Amorim is not as big. Not that he's not involved, but I don't think he is the be all end all of everything. But I think he is more entrusted to work with the players, to work in the dressing room, the culture. That's why I think he was more entrusted with the kind of personalities we don't want and the kind of distractions we don't want with the Amazon doc and stuff. Tobias says, we can still get Nippon. Well, we've talked about players that are very similar to Nippon recently. If you guys want to go back, we talked about Keith Smith the other day as well, another good young player. There's a lot of them out there. Rob says, Amorim said he really likes Ugarte. Well, he's not good. I mean, what else is he going to say, honestly? I mean, aside from Mourinho, who's going to come out and bash their players, honestly? It's just interesting. If he says he likes him, like, why didn't you play him in the final, bro? Why did you give him 20 minutes against Chelsea when we could have done with a couple more points and maybe gotten a couple places higher in the table, which could have meant a difference in a couple million to work with in the transfer market and prize money. Every place in the Premier League table at the end of the season is worth a bit of money. So I don't know, man. He says one thing and then his actions don't really tell me that does that. So yeah, he is learning, and that's another thing. You know, he is young. I just don't think that you have to go through a bit of a reality check at United and to realize, yeah, you are young, but at the same time, this is not the club to literally just like take your baby steps with. You have to learn. You have to rise to that challenge. It's like getting a promotion at work or something. Cool, you may be a young, like I got a client who's 26. He's already like a manager at a major automotive company. And I'm like, you're going to have to step up, dude. It's not going to be fun. Like they saw something in you, but now you've got to also repay that by taking that challenge and growing and being and putting in hours and putting in work and stepping out of your comfort zone. You have to, because it's not going to be forgiving. So Kevin says, what do you think will score? Who do you think will score our first goal of the season? Oh boy. Probably Bruno. It's always Bruno, it seems to be. So it always seems like it's going to be Bruno, right? Danny says Jackson, he's poo and expensive. Yeah, I just don't rate Jackson that highly personally. So I do like that we are looking at Premier League players. I can say that and also say I don't think that Premier League proven is like the ultimate deciding factor. It depends on the player, but I do like that we're kind of getting back to the olden days where we are looking at some Premier League players, players who are playing in England. It doesn't mean I think we should neglect players from outside, England, because I think there are some excellent players. But I do like that we're kind of going back to like, we like your player, Wolves, we're going to take him. We like your player, but we're going to have him. Like that's just what we're going to do. So I don't have a problem with that. Finances, though, again, might mean we are in a sell to buy situation, and so. We had a small budget heading into the summer. We spent a month haggling with Brentford over a few million for Mbeumo. We have a handful of exiled players that we're trying to move on. I'm talking about Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, Anthony Malacia. Rashford and Garnacho would have been the biggest influx. Rashford, we're not going to get much money for him right off the bat, aside from saving money on wages. Garnacho, we could still get at least 50 million for personally. We're probably going to see something like 45 million plus 10 million in add-ons for Garnacho is what my gut tells me. Sancho, Anthony Malacia just need to go. Haven't really seen a whole lot of recent updates regarding Sancho's move to Juve. We'll see what happens there. I saw some random links to Forest this week. I don't know how legit those are. We'll see. I have no bad feelings toward Anthony Malacia. I just don't think they're good enough personally. But again, between the five of them, that's nearly $1 million a week in wages, which is a big deal. That's going to save a lot of money and give us a little bit more breathing room going into the future and planning process. You have to work with. You have a better idea of what you can do and what you can't do. We do tend to also keep in mind, we do tend to do a lot of late deals. And I know that's frustrating. I know that sucks, but maybe it's a case of better late than never. But we do have a history of doing late deals as other clubs and as our own finances kind of there's a lot of movement, a lot of money going around that hasn't quite landed yet. Towards the end of the window, you're going to see a lot of that money kind of settle down. And then you're going to see some late pushes for players, whether that's Garnacho, whether we go for another position or not. I think we will see some late pushes there as well. So I don't think there's any problem there. Yeah, it's pre-L proven is a 50-50 gamble. Yeah, for every player you get, like Grealish, cool, you bought Premier League proven Grealish. He was shit. Like, we bought Sporting Bruno, literally 100 times better than Grealish. Like, it is what it is. It's more about the player than anything. So Buck says we need a few deals to push for a top 10 finish. I mean, I like what I see from Cunha so far. He looks like he belongs in a United shirt. The way he was just, again, it's a friendly, so it is what it is, and it's Leeds, so it is what it is. But he's just literally fearless, that guy. He's like, I know I've got two defenders on me. I'm going to receive the ball, and I'm just going to touch it, and I'm going to try to get through them. And more often than not, they had to foul him to stop him from doing that. That's a United player, like right then and there. Like, the guy was doing absolute bits today. I loved it. So, but we'll see. We've got some other outgoings of sorts too. A few youngsters are set for loans. Just to wrap it up here, Dan Gore is going back to Rotherham after he spent loan there. Amos looks like he could be set to be loaned out. I think that we were kind of wrapping him in a little bit of wool to get him out the door. Leyton Orient could take Morehouse on loan, I saw. So another youngster headed out the door. Joe Hugel is heading to Barnet on loan, but his contract at United, I think, is up in a year. So we could probably just say goodbye to Joe Hugel. I mean, he's 21 and he's watching Cheeto get in the first team ahead of him. I think the writing's on the wall. It is what it is. Nathan Salt gave us a little update on Sekou Kone as far as his future is concerned. This is what Sekou Kone knew. So plans regarding Sekou Kone have changed. The loan to Lausanne, which had been planned for months, has apparently been postponed after the player impressed Ruben Amorim and his staff during training. That's coming from Nathan Salt, who I do have time for. Music to my ears if that's true. I love me some Sekou Kone. I've been saying for months, I think he does deserve to maybe be brought into the fold. And they're around the first team picture. I think that he could easily leapfrog Collier in the pecking order. And I think with the energy he brings, I think he's everything that we're looking for. Literally everything Amorim said we didn't have today is what Sekou Kone brings to midfield. He's young, so I'm not going to overhype him right off the bat, but he is exactly the profile of midfielder we're looking for. Watched him in the academy. He's a very good young midfielder. So could we see him in and around the first team this season? Maybe that could mean we hold off on a midfielder till January. I don't know, but I like the sound of that coming from Nathan Salt. Lucky says Semenyo. I forgot about Semenyo. I don't really like Semenyo. I don't really rate him that much, though. Danny says Kone too good for the Swede. And that's kind of what I was saying. I was like, you know what? I'm not opposed to the loan if we buy a midfielder, but I think he's better than, I think he could have gone to Nice even and gone on loan there and probably done well. I would have preferred to see him go someplace in the championship. Maybe offer him on loan and some money for Hayden Hackney and let him go to Middlesbrough and let him go boss that midfield a little bit. So, Debasi says, wow, did I get all the A's? I got them all. I don't really, what are you saying that for? Lucky likes Mateta. Again, I mean, I don't think he's bad. I just don't think Mateta is United quality personally. He's old. I mean, how old is Mateta? He's got to be like, what, 25, 26? What are we looking at here? I'm going to look up how old Mateta is real quick. Oh, shit. He's way older than I thought it was. Dude's 28 years old, man. No, dude. 28 years old, 16 league goals in 23-24, 14 league goals last year. Nah, I'm all set on that, bro. No. We're not, don't give me this. No. Sorry, not gonna happen for me personally. Y'all, I mean, I'm not saying I'm right, you're wrong. I'm just, that wouldn't be something I would look at, especially with the money that it sounds like Palace would demand. Not having it. Are there any Premier League strikers so Watkins, Mateta, Jackson are the only three? I can't think of anyone else in the Premier League that would be worth it. I just don't. So Danny says Arokadere. Yeah, I like Arokadere a lot. We scouted him a couple months back. You're lucky. You're funny, man. Debasi says, still doesn't ghost like Watkins. I mean, you could say that about a lot of strikers, though. I think that I need to see some goals, and I need to see a good age, a good price. I think that with Cunha and Mbeumo, I don't know if we necessarily need to get a 40 goal a season striker, but I think that we need to be looking at a striker who is good, who is on the up and up, and who's on an upward trajectory. Ekitike hasn't made a move yet. I still am hesitant on Ekitike because he's got one decent season. Arokadere, upward trajectory. Micah Biereth, upward trajectory. Moamora, upward trajectory. So there's a lot of them out there. So lucky is Mateta's agent. It sounded like it, is it? But what are you guys saying here? What is your priority position? So it looks like it's locked in at striker, 46% of the votes. Seems like that was pretty much it for you guys. No one said others, so no one thinks we need a center back or a left back priority, but as next anyway. So we'll see what it is. I'm going to leave it there for y'all, though. It was fun to kind of look through this window, see what we've done, see what we're looking at. Obviously, Rashford, we'll keep an eye on the Rashford news. We'll keep an eye on everything else coming up. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, guys. Make sure you like the video before I let you go. Make sure you subscribe. We are on the road to 3K. If we get there before the season officially starts, the kickoff, I will buy the winner of that giveaway a brand new 25-26 shirt of their choice. So keep in mind for that. But thank you guys for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, you guys. I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Thank you guys for getting involved, and I will talk to you later. Peace.